Stop. Before you give up, I need you to hear this. What if I told you the reason you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and ready to quit is exactly the moment that will define your entire future? Every time your mind screams, stop, that's when the strongest version of you is being built, in silence, in struggle, in the moments no one sees. If you leave now, you'll never feel the transformation waiting on the other side of discomfort. Listen closely. Stay until the end. This audiobook will teach you how to push harder, rise stronger, and become unstoppable, even when your motivation has collapsed. Chapter 1. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Weakness wins through negotiation. It wins through the tiny conversations you have with yourself. It wins through the excuses you allow, the delays you justify, and the feelings you obey. You already know this. You've lived this. Every time you gave in, every time you delayed, every time you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, you weren't making a neutral decision. You were negotiating with your weakness, and weakness loves negotiation. That stops now. Because if you want to change your life, you must remove the internal courtroom. You must remove the debate stage inside your mind. You must stop giving equal voting rights to the weakest parts of you. From this point forward, you act. You decide. You move. Not because you feel motivated. Not because you feel ready. Not because the conditions are perfect. But because the version of you who follows through is the version of you who wins in the long run. You have a choice. That's the key. You always have a choice. Weakness whispers. Discipline decides. Think about the moments you've struggled. Think about the morning when the alarm went off and your mind said, stay in bed. You deserve it. Think about the day when your plan was to work, to study, to train, but your brain suddenly became a full-time lawyer, arguing every reason why you should take it easy. You didn't lack ability. You didn't lack intelligence. You didn't lack opportunity. You lacked command. You allowed your weakness to negotiate with you, and every negotiation ends the same way. You step back, your discipline shrinks, your confidence fades. Weakness wins small battles. And those small battles become your big regrets. So let's build something different. Let's build immediate action protocols. Let's build the mental system used by high performers, elite athletes, world-class creators. The system that removes debate and replaces it with commitment. Look at the athlete who trains on the days they hate their sport. They don't train because they feel great. They don't train because it's easy. They train because they've removed the negotiation process entirely. They don't wake up and ask, do I feel like practicing today? They wake up and say, this is what I do. It's identity. It's structure. It's non-negotiable. You need that. You need the mindset that says, I do what I said I would do. Not because I feel strong, but because I am committed. When you negotiate with your weakness, you hand over your power. When you remove negotiation, you reclaim it. So let's talk about what negotiating with weakness actually sounds like. Sounds like, I'll start in 20 minutes. I'll do it after I rest a little. I'm not ready yet. I'll be more motivated tomorrow. It's just one day off. These are not harmless thoughts. These are micro-surrenders. Every time you indulge them, you train your brain that it can talk you out of your own goals. You don't need their permission. You don't need your feelings' permission. You don't need motivation's permission. You need discipline. You need consistency. You need immediate action. It's not about feeling tired. It's about showing up anyway. It's not about the emotion. It's about the decision. It's not about comfort. It's about commitment. Here is your first protocol. When the thought of quitting appears, act immediately. No delay. No conversation. No back and forth. If the thought says, skip it, you do the opposite. If the thought says, not now, you do it now. If the thought says, you can't, you prove that you can. Action is your counterattack. Action is your armor. Action is your independence from weakness. Do it anyway. Move anyway. Act anyway. Repeat those lines until they become instinct. Another protocol: never give yourself two options. People quit because they create a choice where none should exist. They tell themselves, I either work out or I rest. I either study or I scroll. I either follow through or I skip today. This destroys you. High performers don't have two options. They have one. They don't ask, should I? They say, I will. You have a choice. You can continue giving weakness a microphone, or you can turn off the sound. You can continue debating with your excuses, or you can execute your commitments. You can continue building regret, or you can build resilience. Let's create a real example. Imagine two people both training for a marathon. One wakes up, feels tired, and negotiates. I'm sore. I'll skip today. I'll do double tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes another negotiation. The other wakes up, feels tired, and doesn't negotiate. They lace their shoes. They run. They don't think about whether they feel like it. They only think about whether it aligns with their identity. Which runner gets stronger? Which runner builds confidence? Which runner finishes the race? It's not the talented one. It's the consistent one. That's the key. Consistency beats talent every time. Let's bring this deeper. Your weakness isn't dangerous on its own. It becomes dangerous only when you start listening to it. It becomes destructive only when you treat it as a serious voice in your life. But weakness is not a voice of wisdom. It is a voice of fear, comfort, and instability. It is not your truth. It is your limitation dressed as reasoning. From today forward, when weakness speaks, you recognize it for what it is. A suggestion, not a command. A whisper, not a rule. A distraction, not a direction. You are the one who decides. You choose the action. You choose the standard. You choose the identity you build. Do it anyway. Move anyway. Act anyway. As you build this habit of immediate action, something powerful happens. Your inner voice changes. Your identity changes. Your confidence changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You begin seeing yourself as someone who follows through. Your self-respect grows because you're finally doing what you said you would do. This chapter is about taking back control. It's about ending the negotiation with your weakness once and for all. It's about stepping into a mindset where commitment is your default setting. And now that you understand the power of eliminating negotiation, it's time to learn what fills the space once the excuses disappear. Because when excuses get loud, discipline begins. Chapter 2. Discipline begins when excuses get loud. Excuses show up at the exact moment discipline is required. That is not an accident. That is the design of your mind trying to protect your comfort, not your growth. You've noticed this before. Every time you're about to do something meaningful, something that could change your life, your brain suddenly becomes a full-time negotiator. It creates reasons. It creates delays. It creates stories. That's because excuses don't appear when things are easy. They appear when things matter. And that's the key. Excuses are not signs to stop. Excuses are signals to start. Excuses don't mean wait. Excuses mean work. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can follow the excuse or you can follow your discipline. But understand this. The louder the excuse, the more important the action. The more resistance you feel, the more necessary the work becomes. When the excuse rises, you rise higher. Repeat it. Make it automatic. When the excuse rises, you rise higher. Your brain will say, you're tired. Rise higher. Your brain will say, you don't have time. Rise higher. Your brain will say, you're not ready. Rise higher. This chapter is about recognizing the pattern that excuses only show up when you're standing at the doorway of growth. Think about entrepreneurs who built their dream companies while broke. They didn't wait for perfect timing. They didn't wait until they felt confident. They didn't wait until excuses disappeared. If anything, their excuses were louder than ever. No money, no experience, no support, no guarantee. But they rose higher anyway. They built on weekends. They built after work. They built when they were tired, overwhelmed, unsure. And each time an excuse tried to pull them away, discipline pulled them forward. You don't need their permission. You don't need your fears' permission. You don't need your feelings' permission. You need discipline. You need direction. You need consistency. Think about the student who studies while mentally exhausted. They don't succeed because they were smarter. They succeed because they kept going when excuses screamed at them to stop. I'm tired. I can't focus. I'll catch up tomorrow. You've said these before. We all have. But the ones who win, The ones who truly build something with their lives are the ones who respond differently. They say, I hear the excuse. I acknowledge it. But it does not run me. When the excuse rises, you rise higher. Let's break down why excuses feel so convincing. Excuses feel real because they are emotional, and emotions are persuasive. Your brain knows what to say to keep you comfortable. Your brain knows what words will make you hesitate. Your brain knows the exact language that will make you slow down, back out, step away. But listen carefully, comfort is what ruins progress. Comfort is what delays dreams. Comfort is what keeps you average. It's not about comfort, it's about commitment. Your mind has two voices. One voice wants growth. The other wants comfort. The battle between them decides your future. Discipline is the voice you must strengthen. Excuses are the voice you must learn to ignore. So how do you do that? How do you become the person who rises higher instead of falling back? You build a new rule. Excuses are your instructions. When you hear, I don't want to, you do it. I don't feel like it, you do it. I'm not ready, you do it. I'm overwhelmed. Start small but still do it. Every excuse becomes a trigger for discipline. Every doubt becomes a starting point. Every hesitation becomes a command. This is how you rewire your identity. This is how you retrain your mind. This is how you stop being someone who breaks their own promises. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine someone trying to get in shape. On days they feel motivated, the work is easy. On days they feel strong, the workout is simple. But those days don't build them, the hard days do. It's the day they had no sleep. It's the day their schedule was packed. It's the day every excuse tried to talk them out of showing up. But they ignored the excuses. They trained anyway. They moved anyway. They acted anyway. And that was the day that rewired their identity. Not the easy day. Not the convenient day. The hard day. Discipline begins when excuses get loud. That is the moment you prove who you are becoming. Your excuses don't show up to stop you. They show up to test you. And every test is an opportunity to prove your stability, your commitment, your direction. This is the turning point in your life. Stop treating excuses as commands. Start treating them as challenges. When the excuse rises, you rise higher. Let's talk about micro-behavior. Micro-behavior is the small, repeated actions that build identity. When you ignore one excuse, you gain power. When you ignore 10 excuses, you build momentum. When you ignore 100 excuses, you build a new identity. An identity that says, I do the work, especially when I don't feel like it. That's the key. Success is not built on motivation. Success is built on systems. Systems that run even when your feelings don't. So here is your system for this chapter. Step 1. Notice the excuse. Step 2. Label it. This is an excuse, not truth. Step 3. Act anyway. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Because action is what dissolves excuses. Action is what strengthens discipline. Action is what builds your future. And you must understand this. Avoiding excuses today makes you stronger tomorrow. Listening to excuses today makes you weaker tomorrow. You have a choice. You always have a choice. This chapter is your wake-up call. When excuses get loud, don't shrink. When excuses get loud, don't delay. When excuses get loud, don't negotiate. When excuses get loud, discipline begins. And now that you've learned how to confront excuses head-on, it's time to remove the biggest barrier of all, your emotions. Because discipline isn't about feelings. It's about commitment. Let's move forward. Chapter 3. Silence your feelings, follow your commitments. Feelings lie. Commitments don't. That's the first truth you need to understand if you want to build a life rooted in discipline instead of emotion. Your feelings change every hour. Your commitments do not. Your feelings fluctuate with weather, sleep, stress, and uncertainty. Your commitments remain fixed, stable, and structural. If you live by your feelings, your life will be inconsistent. If you live by your commitments, your life will be unstoppable. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Repeat that. Let it settle. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Because readiness is a feeling and feelings are unreliable. Commitment is a decision and decisions build your identity. Think about your own life. How many times did you skip something, not because you lacked the ability, but because you didn't feel like it? How many opportunities did you miss because your emotions were louder than your commitments? How many times did you let temporary discomfort override long-term goals? That cycle stops now. This chapter is about breaking the emotional dependency that keeps you stuck. This chapter is about building a system bigger than your moods. This chapter is about becoming the version of you who acts not because you feel ready, but because you are committed. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And the strongest people, the disciplined ones, do not choose based on emotion. They choose based on commitment. The reason you struggle is simple. You treat your feelings like commands. But your feelings are not commands, they are suggestions, impulses, reactions. And reactions should not run your life. When you let feelings rule your behavior, you become unpredictable. You work only when you feel motivated. You study only when you feel focused. You train only when you feel energized. You show up only when you feel confident. That's not discipline. That's emotional dependence. And emotional dependence destroys consistency. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Let me give you a real example. Imagine a person trying to build a business. Some days they wake up excited. Some days they wake up fearful. Some days they wake up overwhelmed. Some days they wake up doubting everything they're doing. If they move only on the days they feel excited, how far will they get? Not far. Success requires momentum. Momentum that cannot depend on emotional weather. Great entrepreneurs don't follow their feelings. They follow their commitments. They work when tired. They work when unsure. They work when scared. They work when their feelings scream, stop. Why? Because commitments anchor them. Commitments stabilize them. Commitments give them direction when emotions become fog. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Let's talk about why your feelings are so persuasive. Your feelings are designed to protect you, not help you grow. Your emotions want comfort. Your commitments want progress. Your emotions want safety. Your commitments want transformation. When you understand that, everything shifts. You stop expecting feelings to support your goals. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop believing you have to feel confident to act. You realize that your feelings are temporary, but your future is permanent. So what do disciplined people do? They set pre-made decisions. A pre-made decision is a rule you create for yourself that does not change based on feelings. It removes the emotional vote. It eliminates the debate. It silences the negotiation. For example, I work out at 7 a.m. no matter how I feel. I write for 30 minutes a day no matter how I feel. I study 2 hours no matter how I feel. I show up for myself no matter how I feel. Feelings lose power when you remove their influence. Commitment gains power when you remove the option to skip. Pre-made decisions. That's the key. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Think about someone learning a new skill. If they wait until they feel confident, they never begin. If they wait until they feel perfect, they never progress. If they wait until they feel fearless, they never show up. The disciplined person doesn't wait for any feeling. They start. They struggle. They stumble. They improve. And they build confidence through action, not emotion. Confidence is earned through commitment, not through comfort. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Your life will change the moment you stop asking, "How do I feel?" and start asking, "What did I commit to?" Let's go deeper. You've had days when your feelings were brutal, days when you felt heavy, anxious, drained, unmotivated. Yet somehow, on those days, you managed to show up for something important. You made it to work. You took care of a responsibility. You supported someone else. So the problem isn't that you can't act while feeling bad. You can. You've done it many times. The real problem is that you don't act while feeling bad when the responsibility is to yourself. That stops now. Self-respect grows when you show up for yourself, not just for others. Self-trust grows when you follow through on your own commitments. Self-discipline grows when you stop obeying your emotions. You don't need to feel ready, you need to follow through. Here's another truth. When you act despite your feelings begin to follow your actions. Act first. Feel later. You don't wait to feel confident. You train consistently and confidence appears. You don't wait to feel motivated. You start anyway and motivation follows. You don't wait to feel in the mood. You commit and your brain adjusts. Action leads. Feeling follows. This is how disciplined people stay consistent. This is how they hit goals. This is how they transform. By making commitment the leader and feelings the follower. So here's your system. Chapter 4. Master the boring days or lose everything. Success is not dramatic. Success is not glamorous. Success is not exciting. Success is repetition, plain, simple, unsexy repetition. The world lies to you. It tells you success is built in highlights, breakthroughs, and sudden bursts of brilliance. But the truth is far quieter. Success is built on the boring days. Success is built on the days no one claps for you. Success is built on the days you repeat the same task over and over until it becomes part of who you are. Boring builds champions. Remember that. Repeat it. Boring builds champions. Your ability to master boredom determines your future more than talent, more than motivation, more than passion. Because anyone can work hard when something feels new. Anyone can show up when it's exciting. Anyone can push when they feel inspired. But rare is the person who shows up when the excitement dies. Rare is the person who keeps going long after the novelty fades. Rare is the person who does the same work day after day, without applause, without energy, without the thrill. If you become that person, you become unstoppable. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can crave excitement or you can crave progress. But you cannot crave both. The people who succeed are the people who learn how to make peace with monotony. They learn how to love the grind, not the glory. They learn how to show up simply because they said they would. Look at bodybuilders, the ones who sculpt physiques over decades. They don't get there by switching routines every week or eating whatever they feel like. They get there by eating the same meals day after day, year after year. They get there by repeating the same movements, the same sets, the same habits. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not fun. But boring builds champions. Writers know this too. Their greatness doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from consistency. It comes from writing every day even when the words feel terrible. Even when the sentences feel flat. Even when the page looks like garbage. Because a writer who writes daily garbage is a writer who eventually crafts brilliance. A writer who waits for inspiration writes once a month and goes nowhere. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to follow through. That's the key. And that's why boredom is your greatest enemy and your greatest opportunity. Your brain hates boredom. It was designed to seek novelty, excitement, stimulation. That's why habits are hard to maintain. Not because you're incapable. Not because you're weak. But because boredom feels uncomfortable. But discomfort builds discipline. And discipline builds everything else. Think about your greatest goals. They all require repetition. They all require routine. They all require doing the same thing today that you did yesterday, and doing it again tomorrow. And this is where most people quit. Not because the work is too hard. Not because the goal is impossible. But because the process feels boring. They mistake boredom for a sign that something is wrong. But boredom is actually a sign that something is working. It means you've moved beyond excitement and into mastery. Boring builds champions. Let's bring this deeper. There are 3 phases to any meaningful pursuit. Phase 1, excitement. The start feels good. You're motivated. Your energy is high. Progress feels easy. Phase 2, resistance. The work gets harder. The novelty dies. Your brain starts offering excuses. You question yourself. Phase 3, boredom. The task becomes repetitive. There's no thrill. The grind feels endless. You're tempted to chase something new. Most people never reach phase 3. And the ones who do usually walk away from it. But discipline lives in phase 3. Transformation lives in phase 3. Identity is forged in phase 3. If you quit at boredom, you quit right before the breakthrough. You have a choice. You can chase novelty or you can chase mastery. But mastery is built on boredom. Boring builds champions. Look at anyone you admire, athletes, creators, musicians, entrepreneurs. Their success came from obsessive repetition. From doing the same task thousands of times. From embracing routine. From learning how to love the grind when the grind felt empty. The violinist plays scales every day. The coder writes thousands of lines of unattractive practice code. The runner repeats the same miles, the same pace, the same path. This is not coincidence. This is the blueprint. Your life changes when you stop expecting progress to feel exciting. Your life changes when you stop requiring the process to feel good. Your life changes when you stop abandoning routines just because they feel repetitive. Repetition is not the problem. Repetition is the path. Let me give you a practical system to master the boring days. Step 1. Lower the emotional expectation. You won't feel motivated. You won't feel thrilled. You won't feel inspired. And that's okay. Stop demanding excitement from discipline. Step 2. Create a routine with zero drama. Don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? Ask, what commitment am I following today? Step 3. Track consistency, not intensity. A little every day beats a lot once in a while. Consistency crushes perfection. Step 4. Detach from the dopamine. The reward is not the feeling. The reward is the identity you're building. Step 5. Celebrate the boring days. When the work feels dull, recognize it as a sign of progress. You are entering the layer where real growth begins. You don't need excitement. You need consistency. You don't need motivation. You need mastery. You don't need thrill. You need repetition. Why? Because boring builds champions. This chapter matters because it removes the illusion that success feels good. Most of the time, success feels boring. Most of the time, success feels repetitive. Most of the time, success feels uneventful. But uneventful is powerful. Repetition is powerful. Routine is powerful. If you can master the boring days, you can master your future. And now that you understand the hidden power of monotony, it's time to address the next truth. A truth most people run from. The pain they avoid is the pain that holds them back. Let's continue. Chapter 5. The pain you avoid is the reason you're stuck. Pain is inevitable. Avoidance is optional. You have two choices in life. You can run toward pain, or you can run from it. Most people choose the second. Most people choose comfort over growth. Most people choose delay over discipline. And that is why they remain stuck. That is why dreams are postponed. That is why potential goes unfulfilled. The pain you avoid today multiplies tomorrow. Avoidance is not freedom. Avoidance is debt. And every unpaid debt comes due in stress, regret, and lost opportunity. Run toward the pain, not from it. Repeat that. Run toward the pain, not from it. Because here's the truth. Pain is the dividing line between the average and the extraordinary. Pain separates those who dream from those who achieve. Pain separates the mediocre from the masterful. Pain separates the person who quits from the person who wins. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And it begins the moment you feel resistance. Think about the conversations you've avoided. The words you needed to say but didn't. The difficult discussion at work, the relationship issue, the apology you put off. Every time you avoided it, the tension grew. Every time you postponed it, the problem didn't disappear. It became heavier, more complicated, more painful. Pain multiplies when ignored. Pain reduces when confronted. Run toward the pain, not from it. Look at habits you've delayed. The consistent training, the disciplined study, the healthy eating, the financial planning. You knew what to do, but it hurt to start. It required sacrifice. It required discomfort. It required resistance. So you waited. You rationalized. You procrastinated. And the problem didn't shrink. It grew. Run toward the pain, not from it. The pain you avoid is always easier in the short term. Skipping a workout feels good for an hour. Eating the junk feels good for a day. Scrolling instead of creating feels good for a few minutes. But tomorrow the pain comes back with interest. Your body feels weaker. Your mind feels anxious. Your life feels smaller. Avoidance is temporary relief with permanent consequences. Facing the discomfort is temporary struggle with permanent gain. Think about dreams postponed. The ideas you had, the goals you wanted, the risks you considered, all delayed because starting was uncomfortable. Starting was scary. Starting was uncertain. Starting required confrontation with fear. And fear is pain. Fear is the resistance you must overcome to grow. Run toward the pain, not from it. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They faced pain instead of fleeing it. They sat in discomfort. They made difficult calls. They acted when it was easier to hide. They did the hard thing first. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the compass. Pain points to where growth is required. Pain indicates the edge of your comfort zone. Avoid the pain and you shrink. Face the pain and you expand. That is the law. That is reality. No exceptions. Let's make this practical. How do you run toward the pain? Step 1. Recognize it. Notice when your body resists. Notice when your mind invents excuses. Notice the tension, the discomfort, the fear. Step 2. Rename it. Call it what it is. Opportunity disguised as struggle. Call it growth disguised as difficulty. Call it the difference between stagnation and progress. Step 3. Act immediately. Do the conversation. Start the habit. Take the risk. Face the resistance. Even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Every time you act despite discomfort, you shrink the pain. Every time you run toward the hard thing, it loses its power over you. Every time you face resistance, you grow stronger, braver, and more capable. Consider this example. A young entrepreneur. They have no funding, no network, no guaranteed success. Most people would wait. Most people would avoid the struggle. But the entrepreneur takes action anyway. They pitch, they fail, they revise, they learn. Every confrontation with rejection, every uncomfortable call, every hard day becomes fuel for growth. Pain doesn't disappear, they get stronger because of it. Pain becomes leverage. Pain becomes the vehicle for their transformation. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can hide, or you can confront. You can avoid discomfort, or you can embrace it. You can remain average, or you can become extraordinary. The path is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. Run toward the pain, not from it. Let me remind you, this applies to all areas of life. Physical pain, the training, the exhaustion, the discipline. Run toward it. Emotional pain, the tough conversations, the apologies, the boundaries. Run toward it. Mental pain, the focus, the study, the thinking you want to avoid. Run toward it. Career pain, the risk, the rejection, the critique. Run toward it. Avoiding it only compounds it. Facing it reduces it. Pain is your signal. Discomfort is your compass. Fear is your fuel. Run toward the pain, not from it. You see, pain does not stop progress. It defines it. Pain does not destroy potential. It reveals it. Pain does not punish. It educates. The person who walks away from pain remains small. The person who runs toward it grows. The person who embraces discomfort becomes unstoppable. That is the truth. So today, when discomfort rises, when avoidance whispers, when fear screams, remember, run toward the pain, not from it. You have a choice. You always have a choice. This chapter is not just about courage. It's about action. It's about identifying the pain you've been avoiding and moving straight into it. Because avoiding pain is the shortcut to mediocrity. Facing it is the gateway to greatness. You mastered boredom. You embraced repetition. Now you must face the struggles you've been running from. Chapter 6. Build identity, not motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days it feels strong. Other days it disappears completely. You cannot depend on motivation. It will fail you. It will abandon you when you need it most. And if you rely on it, you will fail too. But identity? Identity sustains. Identity is the unshakable foundation that carries you forward when motivation collapses. Identity is who you are, not how you feel. The shift you must make is simple but powerful. Stop thinking about trying. Start thinking about being. Transform from someone trying into someone who does. This is the path to consistency, to discipline, to mastery. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. Repeat it. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. Think about runners. Some people don't run because they want motivation. They run because they are athletes. They don't wait until they feel inspired. They don't wait until their body feels ready. They don't wait until motivation hits. They call themselves athletes. They show up, they run, and every mile reinforces that identity. They are athletes before they have medals, before they have endurance, before they have recognition. This is identity-based action. It is not external. It is not conditional. It is internal. It is who you are. And identity is more powerful than motivation because it doesn't fluctuate. Motivation rises and falls with emotion, energy, and circumstances. Identity remains fixed. Identity drives you even when you feel tired, uninspired, or afraid. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can wait for motivation to arrive, or you can decide who you are and act from that identity now. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Define the identity you want. Do not say, "I want to be motivated." Do not say, "I want to try harder." Say, "I am disciplined." Say, "I am an athlete." Say, "I am a writer." Say, "I am consistent." Step 2. Take behaviors that match that identity. You are a writer? Write daily. You are an athlete? Train daily. You are disciplined? Do the things you said you would do every day. Step 3. Ignore motivation. Do not ask, "Do I feel like it?" Do not wait for inspiration. Do it anyway. Do it as the person you are becoming. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Think about it in real-world terms. Entrepreneurs who consider themselves business people don't wait for confidence or perfect timing. They act because it is part of who they are. They create, they pitch, they negotiate, they learn. Even on days they feel tired, they continue because identity drives action. Identity transforms behavior automatically. Motivation does not. Motivation is a spark. Identity is a flame. Motivation lights the fire. Identity keeps it burning. The key is not how you feel. The key is who you choose to be. Here's another truth. Identity is strengthened by repetition. Every time you act in alignment with your chosen identity, the identity grows stronger. Every time you skip action because of a lack of motivation, the identity weakens. Every time you behave as the person you are becoming, you reinforce your new self. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. Stop trying to rely on fleeting feelings. Stop hoping inspiration will carry you. Stop thinking effort alone is enough. The most consistent people are those who align their daily actions with their chosen identity. Look at athletes, creators, and high performers. They don't wake up and ask, "How do I feel?" They wake up and ask, "Who am I?" Then they act in accordance with that answer. And every action reinforces the identity. Every choice strengthens the habit. Every consistent effort eliminates reliance on motivation. Here's your practical application. Choose your identity. Write it down. Speak it daily. Own it. Align your behaviors. Each day, take at least one action that proves your identity. Ignore feelings. Motivation is optional. Identity is mandatory. Repeat consistently. Every day you act as your identity, you internalize it further. Eventually, motivation becomes irrelevant. Even when you feel exhausted, stressed, or distracted, the identity keeps you moving. Even when the world doubts you, even when you doubt yourself, the identity keeps you consistent. This is the difference between trying and doing. Trying is dependent on external factors. Doing is dependent on internal structure. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. Let's break it down further. If you say, "I want to run," you are trying. If you say, "I am a runner," and act every day as a runner, you are doing. If you say, "I want to be disciplined," you are trying. If you say, "I am disciplined," and follow through with your actions every day, you are doing. Trying fades. Doing persists. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Will you wait for motivation? Or will you become the person who acts regardless? Every time you act from identity, you build momentum. Every time you act from identity, you weaken doubt. Every time you act from identity, you grow stronger, more consistent, more capable. Identity first. Behavior second. Motivation last. This is your superpower. This is your leverage. This is how you ensure success even when the world, or your mind, tries to stop you. The person you become is the person who wins. The actions you take are reflections of that person. Motivation is optional. Identity is everything. You've learned to face boredom. You've learned to face pain. Now you learn to anchor yourself in who you are so nothing can shake you. And once identity leads, everything else falls into place. Chapter 7. Move in silence and let results talk later. Stop talking about your goals. Stop announcing every plan before it is completed. Stop explaining your dreams to anyone who hasn't earned a place in your process. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they announce too much, justify too often, and reveal their process before the work is done. Silence reduces pressure. Silence increases focus. Silence protects your momentum. Work quietly. Shock loudly. Repeat it. Work quietly. Shock loudly. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can broadcast your intentions, or you can focus on execution. Execution always wins. Think about creators who disappear for a year. They don't post updates. They don't promise breakthroughs. They don't explain the process. Then they return. Suddenly their skill has skyrocketed. Their craft has improved. Their results speak for themselves. And the world reacts with awe. Why? Because they worked quietly while others wasted energy talking. They focused while others distracted themselves. They built while others waited for permission or recognition. Work quietly. Shock loudly. The principle is simple. Your results are your message. Your process is private. Your discipline is unseen. Your success is undeniable. When you announce your goals before doing the work, you create external pressure. You create expectations you may not be ready to meet. You invite judgment, doubt, and criticism. You reduce your flexibility to adjust and improve. Silence protects your growth. Silence allows you to experiment. Silence allows you to fail without the world watching. Silence allows you to learn faster. Work quietly. Shock loudly. High performers understand this instinctively. Elite musicians practice scales no one hears. Elite athletes train without announcing it. Writers draft thousands of imperfect words in private before the first page sees light. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not talent. It is discretion. It is focus. It is the refusal to be distracted by attention. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can seek approval while you build. Or you can build while the world sleeps. And when you emerge, the impact is undeniable. Imagine the impact of quiet consistency. You learn faster. You improve faster. You refine faster. And when you reveal your work, it is polished, powerful, and impossible to ignore. Work quietly. Shock loudly. This is not about secrecy for its own sake. It is about energy management. It is about aligning effort with results instead of attention. It is about focusing on the process rather than the applause. External validation is addictive. It is temporary. It is distracting. It is not your fuel. Your fuel comes from the private act of building. Your fuel comes from the habit of consistent execution. Your fuel comes from knowing you are doing the work when no one is watching. Every moment spent explaining your intentions is energy taken from creating. Every moment spent boasting about your goals is a moment spent defending, justifying, and negotiating with your ego. Every moment spent seeking validation is a moment lost in progress. Work quietly. Shock loudly. Here's a practical system for applying this principle. Keep your goals private. Only share when necessary or with mentors who guide, not observers who critique. Focus on output, not attention. Track progress in private. Measure results in execution, not applause. Build invisible habits. Train, create, and refine when no one is watching. Release results strategically. Reveal your work after it is complete, polished, and impactful. This is how quiet action compounds. This is how mastery is hidden until it becomes undeniable. This is how ordinary people shock the world. Look at history. Inventors, artists, and leaders often worked in obscurity. Da Vinci spent years sketching and designing. Einstein developed his theories before the world understood them. The greatest breakthroughs were created in silence, away from expectation, away from pressure, away from distraction. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You don't need anyone watching. Work quietly. Shock loudly. When you do this, something remarkable happens. Your identity strengthens. Your discipline solidifies. Your results compound faster than your peers who seek recognition before creation. This is a mental shift as much as a practical one. You stop performing for approval. You stop seeking validation. You stop negotiating with the noise of the world. And in that silence, mastery grows. Your energy is no longer diluted by external expectation. Your focus is no longer fractured by opinion. Your progress is uninterrupted. And when you finally reveal your work, the effect is exponential. Work quietly. Shock loudly. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can talk about what you're going to do, or you can show the world what you have done. The difference is immense. One path is slow, full of distraction, and full of disappointment. The other path is fast, focused, and inevitable. This is the chapter that teaches restraint. This is the chapter that teaches patience. This is the chapter that teaches the art of silent execution. You've learned to face boredom. You've learned to face pain. You've learned to build identity. Now you learn to channel it in silence. Because results, not promises, are the only thing that matters. Work quietly. Shock loudly. And now that you understand the power of silent, focused effort, it's time to harness the smallest, consistent wins, the micro-progress that compounds into unstoppable momentum. Chapter 8. The power of micro-progress when life overwhelms you. Life overwhelms everyone. Sometimes it comes in waves. Sometimes it comes in relentless storms. Bills pile up. Deadlines loom. Relationships strain. Energy depletes. And in those moments you feel paralyzed. You think, there's too much. I can't do it all. That's when most people quit. That's when most people freeze. That's when most people let chaos define their day. But here's the truth. You don't need to conquer everything at once. You don't need to solve the entire problem today. You only need to do one small thing. Small progress compounds into unstoppable transformation. Small steps save you. Repeat it. Small steps save you. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Even when life feels overwhelming, you can move. Even when everything is stacked against you, you can start. Even when the world feels too heavy, you can do one small thing. Think about the power of 1% daily improvement. 1% doesn't feel like much today. 1% feels tiny, insignificant, almost invisible. But 1% every day compounds. 1% every day compounds faster than any motivation, faster than any willpower, faster than any luck. 1% every day turns chaos into clarity, weakness into strength, stagnation into unstoppable growth. Small steps save you. Let's make it practical. Even during crisis, do something tiny. Read 5 pages. Clean 1 drawer. Walk for 5 minutes. Reply to 1 email. Write 1 sentence. That's it. 1 small step. You will be surprised how much momentum is hidden in a tiny action. When life is overwhelming, micro-progress is your lifeline. It pulls you from paralysis. It creates control. It reminds you that you are still capable, still moving, still growing. Small steps save you. Consider the person drowning in responsibilities. They have deadlines. They have obligations. They have chaos in their mind. Most people wait for the perfect moment to catch up. Most people wait for enough energy. Most people wait for clarity. They wait, and waiting destroys them. The person who masters micro-progress, they act immediately, not in grand gestures, not in heroic leaps, but in small, deliberate steps that build momentum. They read a page. They clean a desk. They reply to 1 message. And the next day they take another small step. And another. And another. Chaos doesn't overwhelm them because they are moving. Even 1% consistently moves mountains over time. Small steps save you. Micro-progress is not just survival, it is transformation. It teaches the mind discipline. It teaches the body consistency. It teaches the soul resilience. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Even if the world collapses around you, you can do something. Even if the stress is crushing, you can do something. Even if your energy is gone, you can do something. Small steps save you. Let's break down why it works. Momentum builds energy. Action, even tiny, generates confidence. Confidence fuels more action. Control restores focus. Micro-progress gives you wins when the world feels chaotic. Wins restore mental clarity. Consistency compounds results. Small, repeated steps stack into mastery, discipline, and results you never thought possible. Think about great creators, athletes, and leaders. They didn't start with massive breakthroughs. They started with small daily acts. The writer who completes a novel writes one paragraph at a time. The musician who masters a song practices one scale at a time. The entrepreneur who builds a business starts with one client, one task, one meeting. Small progress saves them in chaos. Small progress builds them in crisis. You don't need a perfect day. You don't need clarity. You don't need motivation. You need one small step. One tiny action. One movement forward. Small steps save you. This principle is also emotional armor. Life throws pain, distraction, and doubt at you. It threatens to overwhelm. It threatens to freeze you. But taking one small step pierces the paralysis. One small step reminds you that you still have agency. One small step proves to yourself that you are capable. And that step multiplies. That step grows into another. That step compounds into unstoppable progress. It doesn't matter how tiny the step seems. It is enough. It is always enough. Small steps save you. Small steps save you. Small steps save you. So here's your actionable system. Identify a micro step that is achievable today. Something tiny. Take that step immediately. Don't wait. Repeat the step daily. Stack them. Compound them. Watch as your overwhelmed state transforms into progress, clarity, and control. You can always do something. You can always take one step. You can always move forward. Small progress saves you. Small progress saves you. Small progress saves you. Life may be overwhelming. Life may feel impossible. Life may demand more than you feel capable of giving. But one small step taken consistently becomes unstoppable momentum. 1% a day builds transformation beyond imagination. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Even when life overwhelms you, do something. Even when everything falls apart, do something. Even when you feel incapable, do something. Small steps save you. Repeat it. Small steps save you. And now that you understand the power of micro-progress, it's time to tackle the one habit that accelerates everything. Consistency in silence over time, regardless of feeling or result. Chapter 9. When you fall apart, keep showing up. Life will break you. It will hit harder than you expect. It will throw challenges, pain, and exhaustion in your path. And on those days it feels impossible. It feels like giving up is the only option. It feels like the world is collapsing and you are powerless. But here's the truth. The days you fall apart are the days you decide who you truly are. Your reaction in the moments of collapse defines your identity. Your choices when you feel defeated separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Your discipline when your energy is gone determines the trajectory of your life. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Repeat it. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Think about parents working through exhaustion. The sleepless nights. The relentless responsibilities. The fatigue that drags every bone. They have every reason to quit. They have every reason to feel defeated. Yet they show up. They feed, they guide, they support. Every time they show up, despite breaking inside, they reinforce their identity. They reinforce their purpose. They reinforce their strength. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Consider students pushing through anxiety. The overwhelming pressure of exams, expectations, and self-doubt. Every step feels heavy. Every page studied feels impossible. Yet they take the pen. They open the books. They practice, revise, persist. Even when afraid, they continue. Even when exhausted, they persist. Even when discouraged, they continue. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. And leaders? They finish the work while grieving. They honor deadlines when their personal lives are falling apart. They make decisions when emotions want them to retreat. They act when every part of them screams to stop. Showing up in those moments is what separates leaders from spectators. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can stay broken. You can wallow. You can wait for the storm to pass. Or you can show up. Showing up doesn't mean perfect execution. It doesn't mean everything will be done flawlessly. It doesn't even mean you will feel strong. It means you move. It means you act. It means you do what you can even when it's the hardest possible moment. Because identity is forged in the fire of adversity. Because discipline is proven in the midst of chaos. Because strength is revealed when you feel weakest. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Here's how to apply it. Acknowledge the breakdown. Recognize your emotions. Name the struggle. Accept that you are human. Commit to action despite the feeling. Even one small task counts. Even one small step matters. Repeat relentlessly. Every act of showing up builds momentum, reinforces identity, and proves resilience. Consider the athlete who sprains an ankle days before a competition. They are exhausted, frustrated, in pain. They have every excuse to quit. But they show up for treatment, for practice, for mental preparation. Every time they act despite the setback, they win. Not just in competition, but in character. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Small actions compound into monumental strength. Consistency in adversity builds the person who cannot be shaken. The person who refuses to quit, even when the world seems stacked against them. It's not the days you feel strong that define you. It's the days you feel weak. It's the days you want to quit. It's the days you feel like giving up. Those are the days that determine your future. Those are the days that separate success from regret. Those are the days that build champions. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Breakdown is inevitable. Pain is inevitable. Failure is inevitable. Showing up is optional. And that choice determines everything. Don't wait for feelings to recover. Don't wait for motivation to return. Don't wait for conditions to be perfect. Act anyway. Move anyway. Show up anyway. Even one step counts. Even one action counts. Even one moment of persistence counts. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Repeat it. Show up today. Show up tomorrow. Show up when it hurts. Show up when it's exhausting. Show up when you feel broken. Because every time you show up, you strengthen your mind. Every time you show up, you reinforce your identity. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you are unstoppable. The storm will not define you. The challenge will not define you. The pain will not define you. Your choice to show up will. You have fallen apart before. You have felt weak before. You have wanted to quit before. And yet you've survived. And yet you've learned. And yet you've grown. Now commit to showing up even when worse comes. Even when everything collapses. Even when life breaks you. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. Showing up is winning. You are stronger than your excuses. You are stronger than your breakdowns. You are stronger than your fear. And the person who shows up, no matter what, becomes unstoppable. You've mastered boredom. You've faced pain. You've built identity. You've acted in silence. You've made micro progress. Now you will learn the ultimate truth. Relentless resilience, your refusal to quit, will make you extraordinary. Chapter 10. The person you become is built in the dark. Your greatest evolution happens when no one sees your struggle. When the world is quiet, your mind is loud. When everyone sleeps, your doubts are awake. When the applause is absent, your discipline is tested. The dark is where growth is forged. The dark is where the weak become strong. The dark is where ordinary people become extraordinary. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. Repeat it. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. Think of the late nights you've worked alone. The lonely mornings when no one acknowledged your effort. The quiet rooms where you wrestled with fear, doubt, and exhaustion. No one applauded. No one noticed. No one cared. And that is exactly where transformation happens. Your struggle is invisible, but its results are unstoppable. Your discipline is private, but your outcomes are undeniable. Your pain is internal, but your growth becomes external. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. Every hour spent pushing when no one sees you counts. Every repetition, every micro step, every tiny victory stacks in silence. Every time you resist quitting in private, your identity strengthens. The dark does not make excuses. The dark does not negotiate. The dark does not seek applause. The dark makes you. The dark shapes you. The dark refines you into the person you are meant to become. Consider the athlete waking up at 4 a.m. to train before the world stirs. No one will see the sweat. No one will see the early alarm. No one will see the miles or the reps. Yet, in that quiet, invisible labor, strength is built. Skill is sharpened. Resilience is cemented. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. The writer alone in their room, drafting pages that no one will read yet. The student studying while friends go out. The entrepreneur making calls, sending emails, grinding while the world sleeps. This is the crucible of greatness. This is where ordinary effort becomes extraordinary results. This is where the person you will become is forged in silence, alone, unseen. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can seek attention. You can chase recognition. You can wait for validation. Or you can embrace the dark. You can embrace the silence. You can embrace the invisible work. The dark builds patience. The dark builds discipline. The dark builds mastery. Every night you push when tired. Every morning you act when defeated. Every moment you persist when unseen. You are building the foundation of the person who cannot be broken. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. The world will never notice the battles you fought in silence. The world will never see the tears, the frustration, the exhaustion. But it will see the results. It will see the strength. It will see the discipline. It will see the unstoppable person you have become. You've already learned the lessons of this journey. You stop negotiating with weakness. You embrace discipline when excuses rise. You follow commitments, not feelings. You master boredom. You face pain. You build identity. You work in silence. You make micro progress every day. You show up even when broken. All of it culminates here, in the dark, where your future self is shaped. The greatest you exist in private. The strongest version of yourself is being forged in the silence of your effort. The person capable of greatness is being created in the invisible hours, the lonely battles, the quiet repetitions. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. Remember this, your struggle is not wasted. Your unseen work is not meaningless. Your hidden effort is the reason you will stand taller, stronger, and more disciplined than anyone else who relied on applause, motivation, or recognition. The dark does not make noise. The dark does not seek credit. The dark only delivers results. If you embrace it, you will emerge unshakable. If you persist when no one watches, you will become unstoppable. If you fight in silence, your victory will be undeniable. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. So rise early. Stay late. Work when exhausted. Persist when discouraged. Push forward when unseen. Because this is how extraordinary people are made. And now take this truth into your life. Your success, your discipline, your identity are all being forged when no one sees. The dark is where champions are created. The dark is your ally. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. You've gone through the process. You've mastered each step. You've embraced repetition, pain, identity, silence, micro-progress, and resilience. Now embrace the final truth. Your greatest evolution will always happen in the dark. So act in silence. Push in solitude. Persist unseen. And when the world finally witnesses your transformation, it will be shocked. It will not understand how much unseen effort led to what they now admire. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you. And one final note, if you want more content like this, more strategies to master your mind, push through adversity, and build unstoppable discipline, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join a community committed to silent growth, relentless action, and unstoppable transformation. The dark is building you. The dark is shaping you.